You know when God be telling you, you done? You're done. You're done. And you just keep on going back and you keep on going back. Well, that's God telling me you're done with this portion of your life. You need to perfecto. So, like I was saying, I didn't get to do my little going to work and coming back from work. So today I only had 5 patients. I was in step down unit. Yes, that's how Florida is. Florida nurses step down, get 5, baby. And what's so crazy about the 5 is, wait a minute, I need to do. Anywho, so
it's getting weird.
Wow, that's not a lot. I just keep on wiping and wiping and wiping and wiping. Child, it's giving not so clean. So I got 5. I was like, okay, I could juggle 5. I had 7 before. I could juggle 5. Baby, they had this admission come in. They didn't even do it. I don't know why night shift nurses is notorious for that, but they don't like doing admissions. That's one thing. They be swearing up and down the patient be coming. Oh, the patient came at 6:50. I'm like, okay, whatever. The ninja starts screaming. Like screaming on the top of his lungs.
Ah, the ghetto! The ghetto.
I'm over here like, what is wrong? And he's just screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming. So she was like, yeah, he's been screaming since down in the ER. That's what they told me. I'm like, well, clearly something gotta be wrong. And that's when they're like, oh, he's a frequent flyer. He always refused dialysis treatments, all this other stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh. So this how I get my Friday started. So screaming, screaming, screaming. I'm not going to dialysis. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And in my mind, I'm like, why they even admitted this patient, bro? So long story short, I was like, what's wrong? Because you have to be screaming for a reason. And that's when he was like, my arm, my arm. And then when I look at his arm is humongous. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So wherever they put the IV at, it looked like it infiltrated. Mind you, he's a dialysis patient, so they're not going to give him pain medicine like that any damn ways. So I guess when he was down there screaming, I guess they thought he just wanted pain medicine, or because what they say, he's a frequent flyer, they just, sorry to say it, just ignored him. So, but that's what happens when you keep on crying wolf all the time. Like, people just gonna realize it ain't nothing really.
Oh, you sound like you
nothing really wrong with you when there is something really wrong with you. So I look at his arm and his IV. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so huge. So then I touch it to assess it. It's hard. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think he got a hematoma in there. And it's so crazy because his blood pressure was through the roof. They gave him Lasix, yes. Even though he's a dialysis patient, he still pees. So he's able to get a diuretic. Because his BNP, I think it was 58,000. So they gave him some Lasix to see if they could take it down. But he was still screaming blood pressure like 200 over something. And I'm like, I don't know if his blood pressure that high from screaming Or is it that high because he's in pain? And I'm like, clearly they gave him hydralazine. I'm like, clearly he didn't take the hydralazine because it looked like his IV kind of looked like it's infiltrated. So I was so happy that he had a resident on his admission. So one thing about residents, it's easy to get in contact with them compared to like a doctor, because they be on the phone, on iMobile, whatever they called it. So I called him. I was like, hey, I think this patient needs an ultrasound of his arm because it's humongous and he's screaming and it's hurting him and he doesn't want to go to dialysis because he's saying he's in pain, da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, we convinced him about his electrolytes and how things are looking, that dialysis is going to benefit him. Because we asked him when's the last time he did dialysis. Girl, child, he didn't want to tell us. So we just had to think that he didn't do it for a whole week. So went down to dialysis, girl. That's, mind you, this is my 1 out of my 5 patients, honey. Yes, that's how I felt. I felt like, what the hell? Like, you know when God be telling you, you done? You're done. You're done. And you just keep on going back and you keep on going back. Well, that's God telling me you're done with this portion of your life. You need to go ahead. Go ahead. You already dedicated your time. And the longer you stay, I'm gonna guide you through it, but baby, you gonna have some hardships. So they picked him up for dialysis. They did the ultrasound stat. So they did ultrasound down in dialysis. Well, long and behold, the radiologist calls me. Are you taking such and such patient? I'm like, yes, I am. And she's like, oh, he has a DVT to the right upper arm. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, you see what happens when you cry wolf for no reason? This is what happens. Like, me, I'm a type of person as a nurse, I care. And I really don't care if the patient is like an asshole, because a lot of them are. I'm gonna make sure shit still get done, even though you're an asshole. Like, you know? So mind you, my shift starts at 7. So there's no way from the beginning of my shift that this man could have got a hematoma in that short period of time. So, anywho, I call primary. I'm like, oh my gosh, our fella, he has a DVT. He's like, oh my gosh. Now I got to order an anticoagulant for him. I'm like, yep. So that took up all of an hour and a half, like an hour and 30 minutes actually, to be honest. So after that, I'm like, okay, let me start passing out meds and let me start getting my day started. And I had to discharge a patient who was a post-cabbage, which means your 3 vessels in your 3 big vessels in your heart is basically like occluded. So they have to do an open heart, take an artery out your leg and place it into your heart, basically a donor cabbage. That's what it is. So now it's time to discharge him. Now the wife is telling me, I don't know nothing about the oxygen. They just put it in the room. I don't even know how to work it. I don't this, I don't that. And I'm over here like, bruh, this can't be life. This can't be life. I'm like, this man had this oxygen in this room for the past 2 days. And now you're saying you don't know how to work it. So I'm over here sitting down, talking to her, explaining her what to do, what not to do. Don't smoke around this thing. Don't bang it on the floor. Don't keep it in hot areas. Keep it away from the sun because, you know, everybody got windows in their house and stuff. So I'm like, so I'm just explaining and explaining. Mind you, the people who come and drop off the oxygen tank, they're the ones that's supposed to be telling her all of this stuff. And they did it. So I'm over here like, oh my gosh, another job that I have to do. So then I go ahead and explain her all of this stuff. And I had another patient who, what do I have on my neck? Oh, probably a mold. I need to go see my dermatologist because I haven't seen him in, I'm so embarrassed to say, I haven't seen him in, I think 3 years. I think 3 or 4 years. And I'm getting new moles. It's ridiculous. With the little bit of sun exposure I do get, and I know he's gonna be pissed off because I've been doing gel on my nails too, and even my hands from like the gel has like moles all on my hands. And he's like, do not do that no more. You don't need gel nails. And I still get the gel nails. And I'm over here talking about my patient's bad bitch. I'm a bad patient to my damn self. Anywho, so I explained everything to her, tell her all the medications, what to give them, what not to give them, what to look out for. And she goes, oh my gosh, thank you. Nobody explained this to me. This. And as the tech takes them outside, I'm like, let me make sure. They leave the damn concentrator at the bedside. I was like, I knew she was gonna do that. So I'm running. I'm like, hey, you left the concentrator. She's like, oh yeah. I'm like, this not gonna end right. This not gonna end right. I'm like, this not gonna end right. So that's 2 out of the 5. My next patient that I had, I'm like, oh my gosh, I felt so bad for him. His dick, or sorry, that's not professional. His penis basically is necrotic, like coming off. And I'm over here like, boy, if you don't get, what in the world? I seen this before, but it was with a patient who was shooting heroin in his penis. Because what happens is once you use all your arm veins, they kind of like collapse. So it don't matter how tight you put the tourniquet. I say there's like two people that are very hard sticks. Your end-stage renal disease patients and your drug addicts, because they used all their veins, and you are so hesitant in getting them a central line because when you're not in that room, you don't know what they pushing in that darn line. So yeah, so I'm like, maybe he just got a really bad STD. They cannot find out why this man penis is just basically dying off. Like, it's dying off to the point where they're like, they have to do a debridement, and the debridement is gonna be basically like his entire penis off. I'm like, baby, I ain't never seen that before. Never. Today was the first day that I didn't get a patient that was hit by a car, but I definitely had one who penis is falling off. Like, what in the world? I felt so sorry for him. I was like, oh my gosh. And he was so nice and sweet. Oh my gosh. So that was patient number 4. And then my patient number 5, he was so sweet. And I was shocked that he just found out that, well, he knew he had sickle cell. Mind you, when you have sickle cell, there's no treatment for, there's no cure. I meant to say, there is treatment. You can do treatment. You get hydration, pain medicine, and Hydrea, iron pills. But no matter what, your cells, your blood cell will always be sickled, which means have like a crescent moon, basically. It's not a whole circle. So when they bunch up together in your blood vessels, it can cause severe pain, especially if it bunches up your organs and stuff, because you know your organs need blood supply, which has oxygen in it to provide it nutrients and to keep it alive. So when you go into a crisis, that's what usually happens. And he was very old. Usually your sickle cell patients, the max years I've seen a sickle cell patient live is like probably like 31, 32. They usually die very young. They usually pass away at a very young age. So that was how my day went. And then it smoothed out, and then all the way towards the end, I got a transfer from CVICU. Got a transfer from CVICU, so that was another. It was all right because it was like the last minute of the shift. Excuse me. And with transfers, you don't really do anything because everything else has been done. So yeah. And another note, that was it. So with all my young nurses out here, I know a lot of people be DMing me and asking me, how's nursing, how's this? It's a dramatic change, but as long as you know how to work the floor and you don't let the floor work you, you will get through them little 12-hour shifts. But baby, by the time you get home, your feet gonna be barking, meowing, and probably chirping. Because that's why when I come home, I don't want to do nothing nursing. Like, don't ask me no questions. Don't, please, let me digress. Okay? So that was it for my day. And then I had a lot of questions about, oh, I'm taking my Nclex. I've been studying, or I'm currently in nursing school and I'm not passing my exams. What should I do? Type questions. I think I spoke about briefly in my car about this. I'm trying to think and see, should I talk about it or should I just let me just go ahead and just talk about it. So like I was saying, where I picked up off at, I was saying that when it comes to nursing, they want to see that you can maintain the patient yourself before you call the physician. Is there a time for you to call the physician? Yes, there is a time for you to call the physician. But sometimes when it comes to you being in school and taking your boards, they want to make sure that you know some basic nursing things that you can do that can help the patient out before you. I know a lot of people heard about passing the bucket.
Bro, what are you talking about?
And passing the bucket meaning you don't want to do it. You just want to go ahead and call the doctor, or go ahead run to your charge nurse, or go ahead and say, oh, the PCA can do it. Because baby, I'm not even gonna lie, when I was in nurse and they taught me about delegation, I was like, oh, a PCA, it depends, because I had to learn in Florida. Florida is different. A PCA is just a PCA. As I traveled, I learned that certain states allow the PCA to get more training, where the PCA can put in a Foley, or the PCA can do an enema, or the PCA can do certain stuff that in Florida. That's why I say, you know, when you're traveling, especially outside of Florida, you might find nursing a little bit more easier, because a lot of stuff that we do, the boatload of stuff that we do, you don't too much do it in other states, and you actually get the help that you basically need and stuff. Because I know for a fact, when I was at Atlanta at Grady, if the PCTs didn't do their eyes and nose, baby, they get written up. Florida is nothing like that. The nurse, they always call the nurse and be like, I'm not talking about IV drips and stuff like that, because of course they can't do that. That's our scope. But like what they ate for breakfast and what they urinated, did they have a bowel movement, stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, if you want proper documentation, you're gonna need some help, especially when you have 7 patients. Like, how are you gonna document with 7 patients? I'm trying to think, should I do eyeshadow? I've been like doing a light eyeshadow bead. I don't do too much. Nah, I don't think so. Tonight I said I wasn't gonna do the most, so I was just gonna do something very light. I didn't want to do the most, so I'll pass on that. And plus, what I'm gonna wear is very bright, so that's why I'm like, I'm really not trying to do the most, because it's already bright as hell. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Oh, I don't think I'd put a little something on my. Last time I did this, I don't know why. I feel like iPhones, certain settings on iPhone when you're taking pictures, it made here look a little weird. But then again, I did put the lighter one underneath here, and not the one that's close to my skin tone. So probably that's why. Cause right here it don't look that bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, it don't look that bad. So like I was saying, they want to make sure that you know the basic stuff. And number one rule of everything else is, you know, your ABCs: airway, breathing, circulation. And then I know S doesn't make sense, but just make ABCs plural. And the S stands for safety. I know when I took my exam, I had like a lot of infection control, like downing on my gown, what I'm gonna put on first, what I'm gonna put on last, what I'm gonna take off last type questions. I use Saunders, and I did all the questions in Saunders every day. I wake up, if I'm not going to class, if I'm not going to school, I did at least 100 questions. Even for my NP, I did 100 questions a day. Sometimes I did the whole day just doing questions and reading the rationale. Because when it comes to nursing, you can't memorize certain things. Certain things you have to have the rationale behind. Because the one thing that I hate about nursing exams, all the answers are correct. But you have to determine what answer is the best answer. And that's where a lot of people get duped. Because you feel like, damn, A is right. B is right too. But in actuality, there's something else that you can do way before you do A, B, or C that can lead you to doing D first. So, for example, they could be like, patient Richard is on the bed, and he's lying all the way flat down, or he's lying sideways, which is lateral. But I'm not gonna tell y'all like he's lying sideways or he's lying all the way on his back. You take his vitals and you realize his oxygen is 90%. Option A is call the doctor. Option B is slap oxygen on the patient. Option C is put the patient in high Fowlers. I could never pronounce that word sometimes. High Fowlers, and reassess the pulse ox. Or option D is call a rapid. Well, we know 90, you're still getting some perfusion to your organs. So you don't need to call a rapid. X that out. And it's just oxygen that's the major factor. He's not choking. He's not, and that's another thing. You can't play into it. I know some people, they start thinking things. Okay, is he choking? The question ain't saying nothing about choking, honey. The question just say the patient is lying on his back, flat on his back, and his pulse ox is 90. Flat on his back. So don't put stuff into the equation. Don't think of things. If you're an overthinker, nursing is gonna kill you. Because you're gonna be thinking about stuff that's not there, that shouldn't be there, that you just make it up to just prove a point. So we X'd out D because we know that 90% on oxygen, 90% oxygen is okay. We're not gonna go crazy about that. So because we knocked down D, we can knock down A, which is call the doctor. Because at the end of the day, if you don't need to call a rapid, 9 out of 10, you don't need to call the doctor. We knocked that out. So now we're with B and C. Mind you, everything is legit. Everything, calling a rapid, you can call a rapid whenever you want to call a rapid, baby. They're not gonna ding you for calling a rapid because they rather not have the patient pass away than to have the patient pass away. You can call a rapid whenever you want. But on the boards, on the exams, baby, don't call that rapid, baby. Don't call that rapid if it's just the oxygen that has a problem. Now, I'm not saying 9, I'm not saying 50s, I'm not saying 40s, I'm saying 90%. Even with COVID patients, they had them, if they were sitting at 88, 89, they were considering them fine. Because what people don't realize is oxygen is a medication. Oxygen is a drug. You can over oxygenate somebody. Yes, it's true. You can over oxygenate somebody, literally. So we took off A, we took off D. Now we're left with B and C. B was, what was B again? I know C was put the patient in high follower and recheck and reassess the pulse ox. But I don't remember what I said B was. Let me see, call the doctor, call rapid response. Oh, slap the oxygen on. Yeah, that's what it was. Slap the oxygen on. So we all know if you lying flat back, gravity is pushing against your lungs. So you already know that the person is not getting proper expansions of his lung because gravity is actually pushing against him. So now we want the patient to sit all the way up and take that weight off his back and see if he can breathe better. So now you sit the patient all the way up, and you put the pulse ox back on, that's reassessing. And now the patient 95. We 95%, honey. You think you need to slap oxygen on that patient? No, ma'am. You see? You see how we knock that down? That's why I say y'all have to really read and know the rationale. It's not about calling the doctor, passing the bucket. It's more about, okay, why am I doing this action? What is this action going, if I do this action, what will it give me at the end of the day? That's nursing out. Another one. We're gonna do another one. Like DJ Khaled. Another one. So we have a patient. The patient blood pressure is, we're gonna say the patient blood pressure is 98/62. You're going to give an eye drop. The eye drop is called Tamimol. All LOL. This is why it's hard for you to just remember certain medications, because other routes of medication can cause the same thing as taking a pill. All right, remember that. So now your options is, remember the patient blood pressure is 98/62. I'm gonna give y'all some options. Your options is, we're gonna go with A, give the eye drops. Ain't no problem, give the eye drops. B, recheck the blood pressure. C, let me see what C is gonna be. C, hold the medication and call the doctor, because in Nclex world, they do want you to do certain, I'ma alert the physician. Not, I'ma have the physician tell me what to do next, but I'ma alert the physician. I'ma tell the physician what's happening type situation, right? And then D, we're gonna say D, I don't think this one has a D. I'm not gonna give this one a D. So A is give the eye drops. B is recheck the blood pressure. C is hold the eye drops and not give, hold the eye drops and call the doctor to alert him. So first off the bat, we know the blood pressure is 98/62. So we know anything that we give him that's gonna be blood pressure wise is going to drop his blood pressure. I know you like, but I'm not giving no pills. It's an eye drop. Okay. So remember I told you we're giving Telmol, which the ending is LOL. Metoprolol, labetalol. I know labetalol is a beta blocker and it's a pill form. It could be given IV push too. And metoprolol, beta blocker. Coreg, carvedilol, LOL. LOL are beta blockers. Beta blockers lowers your heart rate and it actually lowers your blood pressure too at the same time too. The action behind it is to get the heart to pump, but not to get the heart to overwork the pumping. These are for your CHF patients because their heart is already big, because the heart is just, your heart is a muscle. So if you go to the gym and you work out, you lifting weights, it's gonna get bigger. Well, that's basically congestive heart failure. By the time the patient realizes they're in congestive heart failure, their heart is so big that they don't want to put any more stress onto it, because the more stress you put onto it, the bigger it is, the more it's not gonna pump. It's gonna really pump like this, and that's how you have fluid buildup, right? Y'all with me? So if I know this eye drop ends in LOL and my blood pressure is 98/62, do you think I will give this eye drop that has the same side effect as a blood pressure pill? No, baby, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. So we already nicked off A. We're not giving the eye drops. And our rationale behind not giving the eye drop ends in LOL, which means it's a beta blocker, which 9 out of 10, your patient probably have some kind of eye pressure that they're giving this to. So we're not gonna give that, right? B was to reassess the blood pressure. We don't need to reassess the blood pressure. We know what the blood pressure is. It's 98/62. It's not bad blood pressure. It's not low. It's not 80/62. The patient is still getting adequate perfusion. And that's why I tell y'all have to know the rationale behind why how y'all answering these questions, because they will throw you off like that. Because they want to know that you know the action behind the medication and what can happen to the patient behind this medication. And they always gonna throw a don't give, or they're always gonna throw a reassess when you don't need to reassess at that time. You feel me? So our best answer, because all of them were correct, but we knocked them out and realized, okay, I see why these two ain't it, and C is it. So we're going to hold it and call the doctor to tell the doctor, hey, my patient blood pressure is 98/62. He's taking this eye drop that has the same action as taking a beta blocker pill. I don't want the blood pressure to go any lower. Do you think that it's safe for me to give it? 9 out of 10, the doctor's gonna be like, no, you can hold off on it. Or he could tell you yes, because I had a patient where the blood pressure was like 92/50. And I called a doctor and I told the doctor, hey, you want me to give Lasix? Because every cardiologist is different. Some cardiologists feels like the blood pressure is not gonna go down like that. You could go ahead and give it. And some cardiologists is like, oh no, the blood pressure is gonna go down, hold it. You don't need to give it. I'ma switch it to something else. So that's why it's safe to call for certain things. And that's what I think That's what bothers people, is knowing when to call and knowing when not to call. Because there's some doctors, baby, you call them about the stupid stuff, oh baby, they gonna go slap happy on you and hang up the phone on your face. Slap happy on you. Like, for example, I remember when I was a new nurse, and this charge nurse, oh my gosh, when I tell you the charge nurse was horrible, she was horrible. To the point where one of the co-workers told me, girl, you know, I let her do the schedule first, and then I see what day she put herself on, and I put myself on those opposite days that she's not working. That's how bad she was. So, you know, at the time, I was young, 22, finished school, venturing out, young. And that's another thing for these young nurses. The old nurses is going to eat y'all alive, because they feel like, oh, they're next up and coming. They might be taking my charge positions, this, that. So they're going to be mean to you, honey. All that, oh, in nursing school, oh, teamwork, oh, this is a sisterhood, baby. This is not sorority. You're not AKA. You're not a Delta. You a nurse. What sisterhood? What camaraderie? Oh, it's a girl. They will throw you underneath the bus so damn fast. It's not even funny. Your best bet as a new nurse is to get good with your preceptor, because your preceptor will always look out for you. Like when I first started, I'm just jumping from subject to subject, but I'm gonna go back and tell y'all what the trick did to me. Tricking asshole. But anywho, gonna make the secrets come out. I don't mean to say all of that. But what's gonna happen is they're gonna, your preceptor is always gonna look out for you. So what I did was, for the first 3 weeks to like, because I was a little bit comfortable, but I wasn't that comfortable. So for the first 3 weeks to like a month and some change, I always scheduled myself with my preceptor. So if she's working that day, I'm working that day, because I know I have somebody that I could trust to fall on if I have a question to ask. I know y'all probably like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Yes, because this is the things that nursing school will not teach you. Nursing school will tell you everything's gonna be all right. Everybody gonna look out for you. You gonna get help on the floor. Please. I'm here to tell you, it's not happening. And especially if the hospital is a very busy turning beds hospital, you're not gonna get that. When I'm telling you turning beds, you discharge bed 101 at 12 o'clock. At 12:10, another patient is in that bed waiting to get admitted. That's what I mean by, I know this thing not opening for me. Not on this Good Friday. What? Babe. Oh, never mind. I opened it. Thank you. So that's what I mean by fast turnaround. So let me tell you what this trick done did to me, honey. And thank God I knew my stuff, because I came from a nursing home, so I knew a little something about a little something. And I'm the type of person, before I put myself in a predicament, I do my research. When I bought my house, I did my research, baby. And no one helped me. When I tell you no one helped me, no one helped me. I did my own research. I learned about certain things that I didn't even know about purchasing a house. Before you purchase a house, I was teaching myself, honey. And when I went in for my interview for that floor and she told me what kind of floor it is, I went and I did my research, baby, because I'm like, I don't want nobody popping up and asking me certain things and I'm looking like dum did a, literally. So she goes and she tells me, mind you, I was a little flustered, and this is what I mean by people don't really look out for you when it comes to nursing. So she was like, oh, your patient, mind you, she's a charge nurse. She's a charge nurse. She's supposed to be the one who's supposed to be helping you out on the floor, making sure that your day is not hectic or going crazy.
Credit.
Really?
Absolutely.
How do you feel about her now?
I don't have a feel.
What do you mean?
So she's like, oh, I just checked your patient potassium. The potassium is 5.9. You need to call the doctor. And here I am, mind you, here I am. I didn't even sit to think, let me go look at my patient history to determine why the potassium is high. In my mind, I'm thinking she's a charge nurse. She knows what she's doing. She's trying to help me out. Let me call the doctor. Call the doctor. Doctor picked up the phone. Yes. Oh, I'm calling for John Doe. His potassium is 5.9. The doctor say, the potassium gonna be high. He's a dialysis patient. I'm like, no, this bitch did not do this shit. He's
Trying to play a strategic game with me. Who the you think you are? Don't you ever play me like that, ever. Don't you ever, you heard what I just said, don't you ever play me like that. Don't you ever play me like that. Bring your street game.
He's like, are you a new nurse? I'm like, yes, but he hung up the phone. I couldn't even say, yes, my charge nurse told me to inform you. Girl, I went to that lady and I was like, why would you do that? Because one thing about me, baby, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. And you're not going to sit here on your little high horse thinking that you got upper hand on me. No, baby. So I was like, why would you do that? You know the patient is a dialysis patient. Why would you tell me to go call? Oh, just in case the patient needed dialysis. Mind you, she didn't even tell me to call nephro, honey. She told me to call primary. Girl, I'm telling you, get with your preceptor. And if I would have just literally go back to my paper, which is called a Cardex, go back to my Cardex, look at my patient history, and realize he's a dialysis patient, I wouldn't even have called. I wouldn't even have to call, honey. Because 9 out of 10, he's getting admitted because he's in fluid overload, electrolytes, phosphorus, all of that is out of whack. So the doctor already know that it's out of whack. And here go my ass calling to tell him, oh yeah, the potassium is high. Child, when I tell you I wanted to slap shit out this bitch. Oh, excuse my language. I'm still mad about it because she literally made me look like a dumb diddy in front of this damn doctor.
Oh, you sound like you so.
And then she also had little moments where she would try to give me a pop quiz like I'm still in school. And one day I straight up told her, I was like, I didn't know that this job consists of pop quiz. And she was like, oh no, it doesn't. I'm just trying to see where your head is if you know certain things. I'm like, okay, clearly I do because I passed nursing school and I passed my boards. So what else do I have to prove to you? And when my coworker heard me going toe to toe with her, she was like, V, don't even go toe to toe with her. This is what she do, okay? Every young girl who comes in here, she gives them pressure and she gives them problems. Your best thing to do is what I do. I literally wait until she put herself on the schedule to see what days she's not working, and I work those days. I'm like, this is a damn shame. You already on 10 because you feel like you have all these people's lives on your hand. And for the person that's supposed to be the charge nurse that you're supposed to go to, she's giving you a hard damn time. She wants you to fit. She wants you to fail. So that's why I'm telling y'all, you know, with nursing, it's very tricky. Before you get like your feet good and wet and you're comfortable and you know what you're doing, you know, whatever hospital that you work for, it's not going to be a problem because you know your stuff. The medications, the disease process for the action behind the disease process for majority is the same. The only thing that might change is the medications, because one thing you will always hear and see, especially on TV, even if you're not a nurse, you see the same thing on TV too, is a new medication coming out because they're trying to have patients take less medications. They're trying to have patients take less medications for something that can do double or triple the work. Just like your HIV patients, they used to take a handful of pills, literally. Now, majority of my HIV patients take about 1 or 2 pills. Some of them just take 1 or 2 pills because they found a mechanism of action that 1 pill can do 3, 4, 5, 6 things in the body. So that's why it's good just to freshen up on your dues. And even if you see, even me, myself, and I, if I see a new medication, I think it was like 3 years ago, they came out with Nestro, which was a CHF pill for patients who doesn't have kidney problems. So I was reading up on it. You will forever learn in nursing. For one thing, it's never, don't think once you pass your boards, baby, that you're done learning. You just started to learn, literally. You just beginning to learn more stuff and more stuff. Why do I feel like something is in my eye? And there's nothing there. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, this eye. I probably have like a little lash thing that, let me see. Probably not. So why is it bugging me? Why are you bugging me, lash? Don't act like that charge nursing come from the little lash. Damn it. Anywho, so that was the tidbit rundown. If y'all like my little questionnaire examples of some questions, hit me up and tell me. I will definitely do more to get y'all feet a little wet and grounded and feel a little at ease. But I guarantee you, you would do way better if you know the rationale behind your answers. Because I know it took me a little while to understand that nursing is not A plus B equals C squared. It's not like that. Or find X, you gotta do this particular because that's another thing that high school don't teach you, is the real world of thinking outside the box of other stuff, because they were so fixated on teaching us that A will always be B and then will always be C. So in your mind, you're thinking, okay, this, all I have to study is memorize this and I'm good. The medical field is not like that. You can't memorize certain things. Certain things you can. Like when you get to anatomy and physiology, the bones, the tendons, the nerves of your face, like what makes you smile, what makes you see, what makes you move your eyes, what makes you stick your tongue out, what makes you move your tongue from side to side like this, stuff like that, you have to memorize that. But stuff dealing with nursing, you can't, y'all. So y'all, I'm done with my little simple little face. I'm just gonna put my baby hair down because I like it. I didn't want to do much. It's cute. She cute. I didn't want to do much. So I'm just gonna, I was taking a shower. I don't really gotta lay these down. Let me just get my little, oh, I thought I had brought it up here. I guess I did. Of course it'll be on that side. Just put my middle part, fix my middle part real good. I don't even know what kind of, I have got these, I bought this one, but I never even tried to wear it to see how, oh, it's pretty. And it smells good. Hold on, I didn't want to eat you. Oh, this is pretty. Oh, it's pretty. It's pretty, right? Yeah, it's pretty. I kind of like this. Wait a minute, but my thing is like a, I have to see. I probably can't wear this. I forgot that my, damn, it's bright. It's like a, it's bright. I don't think I could wear this. I think I have to wear this with this. Cause it's really bright, y'all. But this is pretty. I bought, you know one thing about Target? You don't tell Target what you're coming to buy. Target tells you what you're coming to buy. So I went to Target. I think I went to Target to get cleaning supplies, and then I ended up on in Ulta. I think that was the worst thing they could have did. Hey baby, we're gonna be going broke. Ended up in Ulta, and I'm over here just looking at things, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what I gotta wear. I was like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that look like a cute color. And I didn't grab him. And look at me now. But this YSL, I gotta put like another coat, let it dry for a little bit. Another coat. And that's gonna look pretty too. Yeah, that's better. And I put a little blush with bronzer on. I kind of like to mix my brush with the bronzer. One thing about this hot comb, baby, if you don't put it on for like 30 minutes before, baby, it's not gonna hot comb nothing down for you at all whatsoever, baby. And then we're just gonna flat iron it a little bit better. If y'all see me looking down, that's because I'm looking at my damn mirror that's in front of me. What you warming up, babe? There's still steak or no? Oh. Probably not. With what I'm about to wear, I don't think I could eat that. It made me a little bloated. The things females gotta do just to look good in a damn outfit. Can't even eat. starve yourself, gonna fucking pass out at a damn party. Just to look good. Somebody texting me like crazy. I don't know who it is. Probably some improv. And when I mean improv, I mean my friends. It's so funny how you could call it your friends all types of names and stuff, and it won't be bothering them. But let it be somebody from the streets calling them something else, baby. You going full throttle in. Full throttle in. And one thing about this little flat iron, honey, it won't take that long for it to get out. I can't flat iron with my little. It don't even need to be flat iron. It's cause I had the hair bonnet on, and it kind of messed it up like a little bit. Y'all, but like I said, y'all, please tell me if y'all like, for my future nurses, my nurses who are in nursing school, if y'all like that little segment that I did. And I know, not talking about nursing now, a lot of people was asking me why I took the AANP instead of the AANC. Like I told y'all, I'm more of a clinical nurse. I did 12 years as a clinical nurse, so I'm not gonna become a research nurse. And research was the worst subject of my graduate school, of my master's degree. Research was by far the hardest one that I had to do, and it was something that was so simple as to basically pick a topic and do a research on the topic. You think it sounded so easy? Well, baby, with the type of stuff that they wanted you to show and prove, baby, I had it with my wits end with that. I'm not a research person. I'm more of a, tell me what the patient has and I'll tell you what medications the patient needs. Or tell me what the patient is saying the complaint is, and I'll tell you what kind of imaging that needs to be ordered to determine if that's actually what the patient has. So that's why I'm not even looking at y'all. I'm so sorry. That's why I took the AANP and not the ANCC, because it's a lot of rationale. It's a lot of research. Like I told y'all, I'm a rationale person. I need to know why am I giving this? What will happen if I don't give this? Why is the disease doing this, and why is the medication helping it not do this? That's the type of person I am. So that's why it was a simple, because that's another thing that NP school did. None of these schools train you for what you really actually need to be trained on. They give you the bare minimum of everything, and then when you get to your job, that's when you actually learn what your job basically consists of. So, I didn't even tell y'all that I finally was able to put stripper hair in. You remember the hair that I was waiting for and it never came? And then when it finally came, the hair was already did and I had to get the hair from my hairdresser. This is the hair. We finally put her in. But I'm not gonna lie, my other hair, I feel like that hair was bomb. And I don't like how my edges is laying on this one. I don't even know. That's because I was doing it in this stupid mirror right here. Because I don't even know how I'm gonna do my hair for my birthday. But my boyfriend liked my hair that I had previously. He was like, that shit looks so nice, babe. I want you to do that for your birthday. And I'm like, ugh. And my birthday coming up. It's just like a month away. So that, I have to show y'all what the hair is giving, baby. You feel me? You probably won't see it because, you see, that's what I wanted. You feel, that's what I wanted. Okay. So, back to position. So, yeah, that's why I went ahead and I took that type of test instead of the other test. And then I'm definitely going to, oh baby, don't burn the cord now. Okay. Listen, I need that cord. Listen, I'm just placing things. I usually do a bit of with a rat tail comb, but because it didn't need that much of anything, this one, for some reason, I don't know why it's giving me problems. It's like it's all clumped together, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Let me brush it out some. One thing about these edges, baby, how your stylist lay them, they will not be laid like that again. Unless you go get a touch-up. That's the only way. Okay, that's much better. Yeah. Yeah. Come through, Barbiana. Yeah. So, yeah. So bye y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I forgot to tell y'all that. And welcome to Valentina V. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the girl. Okay? And that's it, y'all. I don't know. I feel like I should put something underneath my eyes. You know what? Let me just let that bit be. Because knowing me, I'm going to try to put it in my eye and all of this up.